Yeah, I'm live. Shauna Wells is in the building. Wunmi, what's up? Are you ready? Ejoko, Ejoko ma. Ejoko ma. I wonder. See, you guys see my shabby Yoruba. That's why we have to build the app. I need a personal tutor 24/7. He could be like 6'2" with a beard. Okay, welcome to Black Genius. This is your girl Olade Shiombola. I'm here with my big sister, my egbon, Wunmi Olaiya. We're gonna dig into African fashion. I know you're feeling what we're wearing. Come on, Wunmi, show them what you're wearing. Stand up, move around. Let me pose a little bit. Come on.
How do I get this to see?
Oh my God. I love this woman so much. She has been like a mommy to me since, very early days of Brooklyn. And I remember when we first met, I went to, Kentucky brought me to your place and, I was telling you how I was trying to learn Yoruba. And you were so supportive. Like you gave me books and, you just took me under your wing just like that. So I love you. I love you. I got to tell the people. So for anybody who doesn't know,
About me using...
What was that?
About me using Yoruba names to remember, me using my Yoruba name books to remember my Yoruba, right?
Yes. And how you learned from Bros Foley and Kunle and everybody in Brooklyn. See, this is a testimony. You and CY, you're a testimony that people can learn Yoruba at any age. So anybody can learn any African language at any age, right? You just need the support system. Okay, so I came to your place, you took me under, and then I started modeling for you. So those who, people have always asked me if I model. I've only modeled for Wunmi and Wow. I won't model for anyone else. Naomi's body double. So fashion, clothing. Tell us. Let's where you at? Tell the people where you are.
My name is, to those who don't know me.
Oh, I didn't.
Wunmi Olaiya Felicity Olaiya, but you can call me Wunmi.
Yes, I didn't do a proper introduction. You guys have seen all the poetry I've written about her and read all my posts about her. This microphone is cheap. And I always talk about, Wunmi is a genius. I don't know what else to say about when it comes to African fashion. I am I don't buy the expensive, the high-end stuff because I'm not quite there yet. But when I see high-end stuff at market woman prices, I jump on it. I'm like, rent can wait because I have to look this good. That's how I feel about her clothes. So she's a scientist. It's like I said last week, she's a fashion scientist. When she makes stuff, it's not like your usual. She comes up with all these different methods to close your pants and your jacket. It's deep. We're gonna get into it. So Wunmi, let me let you say what's up to the people. Tell them where you're at, how you feeling. Say hello.
Hello. I am actually...
Oh, that's that Nigerian Wi-Fi, guys. So we got to invest in the continent. They need better Wi-Fi. Can you hear me?
Shodimu to be exact. And
we can meditate while we wait. Just, pull it in through your nose.
Because the Wi-Fi decided that this was the time.
And the people selling Wi-Fi in Nigeria are making sick money off of it. Oh, we've lost her. The people selling Wi-Fi in Nigeria are making insane amounts of money. Let me say what's up to the people. I think we're gonna get Wunmi back soon. So we have Ayodele, Farrelly, what's up, boo? We have Evan in the building. We got Faith in the building. Thank you so much for joining us. Tag everybody who's not here. Tag all the North fam. Make sure we bring all the people in here. This conversation is necessary. Zulu Girl is back. I just called out the peoples. Okay, so we were talking about the Wi-Fi, but you were telling everybody where you're at, how you feel.
Am I back on?
You're back on, mama.
I was telling you about Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's real.
Aren't all the telecom companies owned by Asians? How much of the telecom industry is owned by Nigerians? That's what I want to know. Can somebody Google that? What did you say? Exhibit A, World Bank. What did you say? All that aid going to Africa. This is what we get. Jesus Christ.
Can you hear me?
At least I have a pretty picture. I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, Glow is the only Nigerian-owned company, from what I understand, the network. It's owned by Nigerian, Glow.
That's pretty good news. At least we have one. At least we have one owned by a Nigerian. Who owns the other one?
From South Africa.
Okay.
I'm not sure where Airtel is from and Estelat. They're all Indian and all of that. But they are robbing us blind.
How much does it cost? How much does it cost to buy Wi-Fi?
Right now, my Wi-Fi that I'm paying for, Smile, which is not smiling at me at all right now. It's 24,000 Naira unlimited for a month.
24,000 Naira. How much is that in USD? I need to find somebody to calculate it.
It's about 60 bucks.
Let me make sure we're still live.
That's somebody's salary, right? Yeah. You didn't hear that?
60, I have my cousin US. That's your cousin?
Yes, man, they're here with me, man. They're making sure that everything is coming out. Yes, that's somebody's wages. Imagine.
Wow.
Now, how many people can do Wi-Fi there? Nobody.
So what else is happening in Lagos? We were talking about coronavirus and how
we have our own special lockdown. We locked down on the street. We didn't lock down in the house.
Talk about that. Every time I called you, there were people outside selling goods.
I told you, man. Lockdown for where? Where are we going to lock to?
Let me make sure we're still live because I'm texting with Faith and I can't see the video anymore. That's when I talk about user experience. Trash. Yeah. All that money going to Facebook and this is what they build? Oh my God. We got to build our own shit. It doesn't look like we're live. Okay, Faith says we're still live, but I can't see your comment, so that's a struggle. But Jesus is Lord. Okay, Wunmi, so Shomolu, with your family, making clothes. You guys better check out her Instagram, because that's a whole eye-gasm. Are you going to start? Are you going to start abusing me? Because of accent? I beg, don't stir. Don't stir. Don't stir me. Don't stir me.
Let me start.
Let's take it back.
It feels good. No, sis, it feels good because they've been teasing me all nonstop here, so I can pull it on you.
Can you see that Nigerian corruption? It's in the blood. It's in the blood. We need healing. We need Jesus. We need Jesus so bad. Okay. So let's take it back because your story didn't start. You were not born in Lagos, right? Let's tell the people how we got
born in England, man.
Born in England, and then the accent comes out,
London.
And it's like South London. Talk about that.
South London. South London, born in Camberwell, and they shipped my ass up here. I came to Nigeria when I was 4, and I lived in Tinubu Square, where my family house. Those of you who don't know, Olaiya family house, once upon a time was in Tinubu Square, and it's gone now.
For anyone who doesn't know, Victor Olaiya, Auntie Wunmi's uncle, is a legend. He's a Yoruba, a Nigerian, a West African, and African legend. So this is royalty that we're sitting before. Okay, Queen Sheba, let's continue. Tinubu Square. We were talking about Madam Tinubu as well.
Are you? So yes, but I was born in England, basically, and I came to Nigeria when I was 4, and I arrived and was with my nan, my dad's mother, in Tinubu Square, where I was there for a couple of years, and that was the most magical. I I feel like one of those fairy tale stories that we read as children when you're in a castle. One of those amazing that you just open the door, you do not know what you're going to see when you open that door. The doors were high ceiling. I don't think I ever went to anything like that after I left Movie Square. And then back then, the fountain worked. Back then, the street looked crispy. It was like looking up onto Trafalgar Square.
It was clean.
That's where I grew up.
It was clean. What time period? What time period were you in?
We're talking 1969 when I landed here.
Wow. And you were there up until your teenage years?
I was in Tinubu Square for just a year and a half, maybe two. And then my dad's sister came and got me, and she lived in Ibadan, and I lived in Ibadan for, I would say 4 years, and then they moved to 4 or 2, and then we moved to Ikoyi, and I was in Ikoyi till I was about 10, and then we moved to Sulere, and I was in Sulere for 4 years. And then I moved back to London. I went back to England at the age of 14. I did 10 years sentence in Nigeria.
Wow. So you got the con, like the culture really entered your spirit. Well, it came all the way in. Those are formative years.
It was by force, whether you liked it or not. When the kids next door were abusing you, you had to learn it quick to fight back.
So you learned Yoruba during that time. So how did you lose your Yoruba?
Because the Yoruba I learned was by force. It wasn't like I studied it. It was like just so I could curse the kids back who were cursing me. And you didn't learn it back home. Everybody in the house, everyone spoke Igbo because everyone was Igbo. Everyone was speaking English. And so when you go, maybe when you're hanging out with friends outside, and Yoruba will come into it, but it wasn't spoken like that. So my Yoruba was
vernacular.
It was straight up. And and when I came back to England, there was really no one to speak to. I lived with my dad, and my mom in particular, she only wanted to speak to me Yoruba when she wanted to gossip, and I was so not happy with her. So Yoruba was the last thing I was going to give her. I refused. I went into what you might call it, strike. I went on strike.
From Yoruba? We're very stubborn women.
Whenever she wanted to speak it, and I would speak English, just like that.
So
it was so sad. It was really sad. Of all my cousins, I was the only one who spoke Yoruba.
So when did you discover that you were an artist? How did you know? I remember you said you used to dress yourself up.
From when I was in Tinubu Square, when I came, basically my uncle, my dad's junior brother, he's one who reminded me so much of my childhood that I always remember everything. My English name is Felicity, which is funny, but he used to call me Felicity because he said, listen, every morning without fail, I knew exactly what I wanted to wear. I used to stress out the Cockney accent, telling her exactly what I wanted to wear. She didn't understand the word I was saying. And I would basically be crying, I want to wear my pink dress, my pink shoe, and my pink thing.
Can you see your life?
It was my life. So whatever my favorite boss of that day that I fell in love with would be what I want to wear the next day. And I'm like, Grandma, I just saw a brown boss. I want to wear my brown shoes. And I had to wear it. Oh my God, help her.
When did you start drawing?
I actually didn't draw. What I used to do was I just loved to dress and I loved to dance. Oh my God, did I dance? I would be quiet the whole time. Then when the music come on, no one recognized who I was because I zoned out. I would dance something. I would dance. The whole house watched me when I danced. That was what I remember as a child, that I was basically the child everyone ignored until when music came on and nobody ignored me at that point because I danced. I danced so passionately. And that was something that followed me when I went back to England, age of 14. It was me and my dad. My dad was a proper Niger street You go to school, you come home, not a minute half the time you should be indoors. Do you understand? And I was goody two shoes. I went to school, I came home exactly like he told me to. My solace was radio. I'll put the radio on, me in my bedroom, put the light on, and I would dance with my silhouette. And that was me. And the dancing led me to, I met one of my best friends who became my friend. We're for life now. Sandra, Susie. We used to go to, we met at the place we used to work in Covent Garden. I used to work at the sales lady at Bulls. And there we used to go to the afternoon, they used to record Soul Train. We had our own UK London Soul Train show. I don't know if you guys know that. The London Soul Train American, but we did a copy of it in England. So I used to be one of the dancers on Soul Train. That's how I got my.
Okay. Okay.
So
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
Well, as I was doing that, I used to go, when I turned 21 was my first outing. I went out to the clubs. I remember nearly shitting myself when I was out. It was almost impossible to enjoy the party because all I kept thinking is my father's going to kill me. My father's going to kill me. My father's going to kill me.
Comment if you've ever had that experience. What was the thing that you loved to do so much that you did it anyway, even though you knew there was an axe waiting for you at home? What was that thing? Tell us in the comments.
I would do my dance and I'll be hearing my father say, "Oh my God, oh my God." I danced. I got home that day just before midnight, just so that to make sure. I was so sure that the door was going to be locked and my ass was going to be outside, but I was saved by the bell because my dad's older sister was also around and she let me in.
My dad, one time my stepdad told me he had my brothers block the door and tell me to go back wherever I came from. So I couldn't sleep home that night. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna do therapy later. Okay, so dance, dressing. How did you tell your dad that you wanted to study fashion instead of engineering or
well, when I came back to England, I was 14. I started going to Mayfield School Putney, and my dad picked all my subjects. Every single last one of them he picked. In there was not art. There was nothing called ART in any of those subjects. None.
What is art? Art. Do you want to be a beggar? Do you want to beg? Do you want to be a beggar for living? Art. Art.
There's art. There's no art, so there's art.
Do you want to die hungry? Do you want to shame your family? You want to be an artist? Are you mad? Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, there was only me one, and it was just me and my dad. And I was so good at going to do my classwork and everything, but when it came to exams, I couldn't handle it. I crashed every single exam. I was so scared to fail that I failed. I literally sit in the exam time scared of and everything I studied, I crammed, whatever, went in one and went out the other.
Wow.
Exam after exams after exams. Fortunately for me, my teachers were paying close attention to the things I did outside of my classes. They noticed that I was always dressing, and I always, my school uniform, the green wall uniform, I always did something extra different on there so that I looked different. Because I was very particular about making sure I didn't look like everyone else. And suddenly, my best friend at school at the time too, she actually did art. I used to watch her in class, drawing, creating. It was like, she did anything. I used to look at her and say that you can do art. It's really a subject. And then when it was time and everybody was picking application what they were going to do, she was going to go to art college. Art college? Anyway, she did though. She upped and she left and she went to the art college, and I was still at school trying to figure out what I was going to do, because meanwhile I was feeling every single subject. At one point, one of my favorite teachers actually said to me, "Why don't I apply for art to do an arts foundation to build a portfolio to study fashion?" I looked at him like, "For real? Really?" yeah, it's not doable. Then I investigated it and I found out about London College of Fashion. And so I made my portfolio and I applied to City and East London College when I did my foundation course in art. Not only did I pass with A's, finally the other classes that I was constantly failing in, I was finally passing. My math, my English, just like suddenly I was actually getting scores. It was the first time that I actually sat. I was in my, how can I say, in my body. I was in school for my dad. And
you weren't what with your dad?
Let's rewind this back, really. I came back to England at the age of 14. I didn't know I was coming to stay. Just like when I went to Nigeria at the age of 4, I did not know I was going to stay. I was going to Nigeria on a holiday that became a 10-year sentence. In those 10 years, my parents
I'm gonna ask which network you on? Which network are you on? Let's call them out. Which network are you on? You guys know I don't have no behavior. I was raised by television. She's like doing a robot dance in the Matrix. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
You went all the way deep in the Matrix. The last thing I heard was 10 years. You didn't see your parents. And then it went into like, which network are you on?
Okay, I'm on MTN.
Okay, MTN. You've been warned.
One them plenty for me. Anyway, I did my 10-year sentence in Nigeria, as I said. I came to England, to Nigeria at the age of 4, not knowing that I was coming to stay. For my first 4 years in England, I actually was with foster family. So it was all that kind of thing that finally caught up with me when I came back to England at the age of 14. I did not know I was coming to England to stay. I thought I was on a holiday like my cousins who I traveled to England with. And then when my auntie and my cousin were returning back to England, I ended up staying. What actually happened in my head, I was supposed to travel back. My dad's best friend's daughter, who I told how I was feeling about being back in Nigeria, apparently she took me to visit a friend of theirs and they returned me back home the day I was supposed to be back at my dad's to get ready to fly back to Nigeria. So I missed the flight. That's how I ended up back in England. You
missed the flight? Is that what you said? It cut out a little bit towards the end.
Yes.
Wow.
I was supposed to have flown back to Nigeria with my cousin. But my dad's best friend's daughter took me away and nobody could find me to the day after.
So your spirit was like, I want to stay. You didn't want to go back. You said by force, let me disappear.
No. It was kind of deep because I didn't really know the story how I ended up being back. I thought my dad, no one told me I was staying. So I really honestly believed I was going back to Nigeria. It wasn't what I wanted, but it wasn't like I had to say where I was going to be or where I was going. And that's how I ended up being in England. And when it was time for me to go to college, I did not know what I wanted to do because it never occurred to me that I could pick what I wanted to pick because everyone up to that point picked my career and my life for me.
Wow.
So
how freeing? How freeing was that to be able to go to London College of Fashion and just be?
It was the point too, because at that point I was dancing. I was dancing. I danced to breathe. I danced. It was like, but I still was following the rules. I made sure I was home on time. I didn't overstay my, I went to the parties. I was the first one in, like Cinderella, and the first one out. I always made sure I made a curfew. All the toilet time. Even when I finally got to college and I was doing my fashion, I was like, Dad, you see, I'm I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this valley. There's no one. I'm gonna show you. I can do this. I can do this.
Wow.
And then while I was at college doing my degree in fashion, my passion with dance led me to meeting with Jazzy, going to African Center where Soul to Soul used to spin. That's how my dancing career took off in its own. While I was at college doing fashion.
You just like birthed out of London to come to New York, to go to New York to dance with Soul to Soul.
No, I danced in London with Soul to Soul. Soul to Soul is UK. Soul to Soul is UK.
No, but I thought you went on a show with them or something like that. No,
I did. What it was is that Soul to Soul African Center was in Covent Garden. A whole bunch of us used to go out to all of these parties where all these DJs played. It was where Jazzy saw me because there were very few female dancers on a club scene at that time. And he approached me and asked me to dance. And I was like, they said, you just all you have to do is be yourself. I'm like, I should do that. I can definitely do that. Dress myself, do with me. Okay. And I did that. So for years I was dancing. I started 87 when I got with Soul to Soul. 89, I went to New York with them and we did Palladium, which is amazing. We played. That was my first time going to New York, and that was an eye-opener to land in New York, to get in the limo with everybody, and we're going to Harlem to go and see Red and Left. And every single car that passed us was playing Keep On Moving. It was surreal.
Wow. Surreal. Look at that. Keep on moving. I need to play some music, but I have to get my DJ license. Only help me get a DJ license. I can play music on here, yo. That's amazing.
You have that music to get on DJ?
I have to get a license because, whatever.
Oh my God.
If I play it on here like that, it's like, we'll figure it out. They Black. They're going to have to help a sister out. They don't have a choice. Okay,
all the time I was dancing, I was still at college, mind you, doing my degree in fashion. And then I started the fashion line with my best friend at college, Donovan Pascal. We had a line called Revolution with Love. We were basically princes. We were princes. We love Prince like something. We love him. So we used to chase Prince whenever he came to London. We were looking for where he was having his private parties, where he was spinning. We would dress up and we'd go show up. That's how we used to do it.
So you got to meet him.
I did get to meet him, and it was one of the biggest disappointments in my life because they didn't let any of my friends in. They didn't let the guys in. They only let the girls in. And I was like, it's not the same because I went with my crew. We were all always together. So I was like, that's how it was. Imagine I'm in Prince's party and I'm.
But what was it like? Did you say hello to him? Did you have a conversation with him, or you just kind of like shook his hand and was like, okay, I love you. You're the best.
No, I didn't. You should see. I'm terrible, I swear to God. I am super loyal. It's so bad. I wasn't even impressed at all. God forgive me.
Wow. You were like, nah, I'm good.
Do you understand me? It was
like, you left my friends outside. I don't need to be down with you.
It was so funny. When I came outside to them, they were so excited for me. I was like, it wasn't like the fun wasn't, not being.
It wasn't the same.
I did by myself, man. What can I tell?
So by the time you
finished,
finished undergrad, you had your fashion degree. What was happening with the dance at that point? How did you make your decision of what to do next?
At that point, things gotten so quickly and so wild. So was like humongous. And it was at a point where when things get big too quickly, money gets thrown at people and suddenly the reason behind what's happening starts to lose, I guess, focus. I remember I was already finding myself feeling like this wasn't what I came in for. I couldn't speak to Jazzy when I wanted to. He disappeared. Karen and I became very close. We used to talk a lot, and she already had signed her deal with EMI, and she was about to go solo. It was not the same. I mean, I remember before I met Soul to Soul, I had met Roy, who now I call Uncle Roy, and he had given me, he had said some words to me that I never, ever, ever forget. And it's something I carried, and it always rings in my ear in situations that reminds me. He had said to me when I met him, because this is before Soul to Soul, and I must say, when he spoke to me these words, I kind of knew that something major was coming to my life. I thought it was probably Prince. That was really, I thought it was Prince. I was so shocked. That didn't happen, but so happened.
Wow.
But he said to me, he said, I have the presence of life that no money can buy. And as long as I do not prostitute my soul, whatever it is that I choose to do, I will see the next connection. I will keep reaping from it.
Wow.
So it was about being truthful to myself.
Wow.
It was, as somebody who did not really know what she was going to do or what she really truly wanted to do, I felt like it was huge in my hand to begin with. Just like my name, Wunmi. When I was a kid, that name, I couldn't carry it. I could barely pronounce it. It used to be so heavy. I grew into my name, you know, like Wunmi. I understand it more now and realize that my grandma who gave me that name knew what my future was going to be. I didn't know it. Just like Uncle Roy saw me so much more clearer than I knew who I thought I wanted and what I wanted in life. When that time came for me to move on from Soul to Soul, it were those words that rang in my ear. I didn't come in to do Soul to Soul. I came to do me. And when your time is up, you must know when to move on. Don't forget who you are. Never forget who you are.
There's two things. There's two questions that you brought up for me. I want you to tell the people who don't know about Roy Ayers. Tell us a bit about his story and what he meant to you. And then I want you to tell them what the meaning of your name is.
Okay. Roy Ayers is, and he's still alive. He's the legend, the master. They call him Jazz Funk. He plays the vibraphone. He is like ridiculous. If you don't know, Google him now, Roy Ayers. And he had this song, one of his famous songs that everybody has sampled, Everyone Loves the Sunshine. Running is searching. He has albums. He also recorded an album with Fela. He came to Nigeria, he met Fela, he stayed with Fela. And that's how I went to see him. My cousin gave me a present for my 21st birthday. So much happened on my 21st birthday, man. Anyway, I went to see Roy in London at the Palladium, London Palladium. I was taken backstage when his manager at the time saw me because I was dressed. I used to dress this. I had this humongous beret that I made, and I was wearing a 50s swimming costume and my biker boots. I got dragged backstage because his manager said, "No, man, Roy has to see this. Roy has to see this." I'm like, "Really? I'm going backstage?" He took my cousin and I backstage. I met Uncle Roy. He looked at me and he kept saying, "I know you." I'm like, "I've never met you before." He said, No, I know you. I know you." And he was rapping with me and I was telling him who I was. And I'm like, "Yeah, I love to dance." My cousin said, "No, man, no, my cousin, she's bad." He said, "Yeah, I can see she's a dancer." And I smiled and laughed. The next time it was his turn to go on stage because it was the New York Jazz Explosion. London Nessie Smith, Gene Kerr, these are all top jazz musicians who do jazz funk were performing. They called Uncle Roy. It was his turn to go on stage. He went on stage. 2 songs on, I heard my name. "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest all the way from Nigeria. Please welcome." I couldn't believe my ears. He said, "Yeah, that was me." I stood looking at my cousin and said, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And that was my first dance on a world stage, way before Soul to Soul. I danced. And so many friends who didn't know I was going to be there saw me on stage and they were gagging like, "What are you doing?" Do you know from that day?
We have like 15 minutes left. We have just said and just said. The people will be saying things. So, okay, what did Ibi Wunmi mean in 10 seconds?
Ibi Wunmi means Ibi Wunmi, a birth that is loved, a birth that is wanted. And if you're speaking, depending on, Yoruba names are sentences. Ibi, give birth, Wunmi, like, want. And I refer mine as a child that's loved, a child that's wanted.
But Wu is like, it's
told me that, you know, it's you know, when you want something, when you wish for something you asked for, something that you wished for,
like it really sweetens you. It's like, it's not just love, like the English love. It's something that just
because we don't we don't do we do, you know, like
all the way.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the line. Okay, so music, you know, you blew up, you moved to New York, and now you're performing, you start making clothes. When did you decide, like, okay, because you were telling me about, you know, making stuff for yourself and other people wanting pieces, and then you going to dance class.
When I moved to New York, I was to do my demo. In the process of doing my demo for Island Records, I was basically waiting around. Rent needed to be paid. I needed to eat. And I was making clothes for myself. A lot of people liked it. And a lot of my close friends at that point were choreographers. One particular one, Ron Brown, I needed a place to stay, and he emptied out his office and called me over one day, and there was an empty room. He said, "Look, sis, you have your room." I'm like, "I don't have any money. How am I going to?" I said, "But I can't stay here for free." And I'm like, "You know what? Let me design your costumes for you. Then let me design." And he said, "Okay." So I basically started doing that. The first costume I did for his company, before you know it, I have been designing 25 years, his whole repertoire. In that journey, he got his first gig with Alvin Ailey in 1999. And he told him he already had a costume designer. And I walked into Alvin Ailey like somebody who's doing what he's doing. And I did my first commission. But I didn't only just do Ron Brown. There was this other amazing choreographer who's now passed, who recommended me for his costume as well. Donald McKell is his name. I did his costume. So I became the first designer to do 2 costumes in one season on Alvin Ailey's dance company. Wow. And I went on to design 6 other repertoire costumes for them since then. And in that process, so many
go ahead.
Do my work. Like the dancers requesting I design their outfit to go out. I always make sure when I showed up, I'm wearing a Wunmi outfit. And that obviously built to people asking, "Where do you get your outfit from?" I'm like, "Well, I'm wearing it. Can you make me one?" I'll see.
You are your own brand. You are your own walking billboard.
And I was also, I was always nervous about making clothes for other people. I knew how to make clothes for myself. Designing for dance companies allowed me to dream and practice like fantasy, but on a real life base. I was wary of one-on-one customers and the aggro. So I said, you know what? I will design what I like, a few of them, and if anybody wants it, I will sell it. And that's how it builds. I didn't have a name for my line at the time, but my fans were saying, "I want my Wunmi girl, I want my Wunmi girl." So Wunmi girl began my brand without me knowing it. And like, "You're wearing a Wunmi girl outfit, you're wearing a Wunmi girl." And I kept thinking, well, how are the guys who wearing Wunmi gonna feel when the people say Wunmi girl? Does that sound? It doesn't sound gender friendly. And then remember when you met me, I was working with my fiance at the time, and I had a label called Zulu Rose.
Zulu Rose. Epic. I still have the t-shirts, even if the holes, until the last hole. I'm gonna be wearing it as a sling on my arm. They feel so good on the skin, man. I love those t-shirts. So yes.
It's how the legend, I guess they say, how do you build a brand? You build a brand by the realness of it. Like it's people created it. I did it, but the legend that has become is by the fans, by the customers. Because I never had a name. I was just making things I loved, but my customers and my fans made it to be the brand that it is. And I just now had to catch up. I actually played catch up with my fans because they were ahead of me. And that's where Wow Wow came about, because most of the time my customers would say, wow. When they saw me, they're like, wow. when I started looking for a name, I was like, I didn't want to use Wunmi. I just wanted something that felt like really made you feel the way I felt every time I created something new. And that's how Wow Wow came about. And the whole idea of coming to Nigeria, coming back here to build using Adire, it's a passion from my childhood love affair with Lagos. That I didn't think was a love affair till I came back in 2003, and I was like, wow, going to a Abeokuta, man, there needs to be, that's, if anything, there needs to be a trip for that, for folks to come and see that.
People are doing it. People are starting to find out. People are starting to find out about Abeokuta. I promised people we were going to talk about the history of African fashion, and you know, now you're seeing more Adire on the runway. Naomi Campbell is investing in fashion in Lagos. You got Lagos, you know, Heineken Lagos Fashion Week. It's a big business now. It's a big business now. So when you started doing, you know, using our traditional fabrics, there was something that you wanted to communicate in that process, I believe.
For me, I was determined. Like I was coming home, and I felt like me coming home, it wasn't like, what can I contribute? I couldn't come home and give out money, because that doesn't go. You spend the money is done. What it is can I do? Then there's also the thing we talked about, production. Oh man, Nigerians, the production is not good enough. I said, well, how do you change that? Somebody has to try it, right? Somebody has to do it. So that's basically where I began. In me producing my collection in Nigeria, not just the fabric, but also tailors, I had to literally now sit down on the quality control and getting that quality to the point where people do not believe that I'm making my stuff in Nigeria, because they've seen what they bought. Yes.
Most of us have seen the memes. Most of us have seen the memes about you know, Nigerian tailors and how you bring them one thing, you bring them this and they give you that, you know. So this is what I want, but so how did you develop the faith in the talent that you found at home to
I'm going to first give thanks to my cousin here who schooled me, first of all, because I had all these big ideas. Yes, I'm going to come, open a factory, bring all the tailors in. She's like, nah. She said, they will suffer you. She said, they'll make you cry. You'll cry that you would not come back. Don't do it. In your back, don't even try it. And I was smart enough to listen to her, because I did not want to fail like that. That wasn't what I wanted to do. And I also knew that I needed a buffer, because Nigeria is not a place for the faint-hearted. If you want to do business here, you better come ready, school, or have the buffer in between you, because everyone is going to try you. And if you're weak, they will take it. They can't help it. They will take it. So one of the things that she definitely did for me was she explained the whole system. Most people here want to work for themselves. They want to feel that they're working for themselves. So if instead of me setting up a scenario where they will come in, and I pay them wages, it's actually, no, do it in a piecework. We call it piecework. They will come, I will show them my sample, I'll have them cut my pattern with me, they'll take it away, they'll sew it, and they'll bring it back, and then we'll discuss it. And that was my beginning. That was the beginning, and it's also trusting, because they will sew it, and I'll bring it back, and I'll critique it. I'll show them my sample that I've made, and I'll show them what they've made, and I'll explain the difference. And also, literally, what I also used to do to them is to ask them to look at their wardrobe, the clothes that they bought, the secondhand clothes. Look at what you've bought, look at what you've made, and tell me what the difference are. I said, this is the market we're going to. This is where I'm selling. It has to be exactly that quality, if not even better. I said, when your clothes is made, it's got to look better than the clothes that you're buying. That is one thing that has to be correct. And the level that we have is different. There's differences, yes, between the quality of tailors here. The idea is to train the lower level up to the standard that anybody from abroad can come here to produce. They need to do this here. That's what's happening in China and India. And I feel that Africa, we The oil, Nigeria, we too much limit on the oil. We have so much here, so much resources. And one of the biggest challenges, how can we improve the situation? And one of my little bit is through this production plan, teaching that quality. It's a battle because they still feel that among the locals, they want it quick.
So
and I said to them, I said, well, okay, look, sorry, I'm going to cut it in. On one street, you have 10 tailors. Why would they come to you? If you're going to charge more, why would they come to you? So this is what they agree with me, my tailors, is the level is that, well, they'll come to me because my quality is so much more better. I may be charging them a little bit more. So that's where we're going, that level of understanding of bringing up your quality, because there's a lot of tailors.
So you're doing a very, intimate, a very intentional, a very thoughtful educational process here, right? And you're also teaching values, you're teaching values and skills at the same time, and adding value, giving you an opportunity to generate wealth, right? So how would you scale this? What would you do with 10 million? Let's say Dangote gives you $10 million today. What do you do next? What do you do first?
The first and foremost is that the tailors who have now trained with me, who I call them my elder tailors, two of them have freedom workers. Freedom are like what we call interns, and they come, and whenever I'm in town, they know I'm here. So they always come with their madams of, they come to me, and I literally have them sit down and we go through what this season is. I show them the pattern, I show them the samples, and I discuss it with them. And it literally becomes the interns who come to me. And I have sessions with them every time they come. And the whole idea is that they're on this learning, this process. If I have the way with the money, which is me not worrying about it, that's what I would open. I would open a school where they will now be training. And my seamstresses would be the head tailors. Because they now understand it, they're up to the level of understanding of the quality that has to be met. So they can now take on some of the roles that I'm doing. It's really, I feel like Nigeria is right to do production. Now that everybody's worrying about China, what to do, I feel like Africa, not just Nigeria, Africa is right for this. We are in fashion. We've always been in fashion. But it's just a level. We need to bring the skills up to match outside of Africa. That's all that's needed. Even within Africa, the skills, because I know that the Senegalese skills are top notch. The tailors over there are top notch. But again, it depends on which level. I build my men's collection in Togo.
So we build a school or a network of schools to train seamstresses, train tailors. And then you're producing these products that, this, in case anybody was wondering, this is definitely wow. I need like 10 of these. I'm just waiting for my husband to go and buy, 10 of these for me because they're perfect. I want to live in them. You make these products and then you distribute them and then you distribute them globally.
Also to bring...
Go ahead.
Yes. I feel like there is some, H&M, they want the Western product. I feel they could have their own African H&M. There's no reason not to. There's room for that.
You mean an H&M owned Africa, whatever?
No, a brand, an African brand.
An African brand that is contemporary in the way that H&M is. Yeah,
yes.
We have lots of brands though. There's so many brands. That's why at NARFest, we're gonna uncover all the dope African brands. There's so many people out there, but there's no way to really know about them. Everybody has their small niche audience,
And because I feel also there's the outside, there's a separation that's happening here, which is more like a class thing. And then the only place we all meet is on the foreign affairs. We all, and when I mean the foreign affairs, meaning the foreign brand that we're all interested in, because in the end, it's the Zara's, the H&M, whether you're rich or poor, we all know about them. Do you understand? That's what I mean by the foreign affairs. But it's having that local African brand that goes right across the whole of Africa, not just in one.
What do you think it would take? What do you think it would take for, I'm gonna wrap up soon, I know we're over time. Yes. What do you think it would take to create a situation where, you know, Nigeria specifically, 90% of the population is wearing Nigerian made clothing?
I think we are already, Nigerians, I think 90% of the clothes is home brand, outside of the second-hand clothes that they buy, that the masses, because we got to know there's the masses, and then there's the middle class, and then there's the upper end who travel abroad and buy their clothes and bring it in. So everyone is looking at, on now we have Instagram, everyone is looking on what everyone is wearing. There was a point now where African clothes became fashionable. You don't understand? What we don't want to do is for it to be a fad. It's never a fad here, because when there's a party and event, they wear traditional. It's not about it being traditional, it's about it being a way of life. That's what. And I feel when you have those brands, I call it the H&M brands, because it's a brand, a Zara brand, where it's what do you call it, streetwear? Is that what it is? Where it's everybody goes in to buy, you buy your contemporary. That's what I'm talking about. Then it's no longer like, it's not only one when you're going to a party or a special event. It's daily. That's what I meant, if I'm making any sense.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Definitely, you know, the masses wear, you know, homegrown, homemade stuff. There's a lot of fabric that's still imported from China, but it seems like Adire has made a huge comeback, you know, in recent years. Anybody who hasn't noticed, since we didn't go deeply into, you know, African textile history, I have an article on my blog, Garden Wheatgrass. If you search a brief history of Nigerian textiles. So I kind of outlined some of the, you know, the different, and most of those books are on Wunmi's coffee table. And I used to write that. Okay, and Faith is reminding me to talk about the Nipsey Hussle tribute. Thank you for that. I can't see you guys' comments. Facebook has just been like swirling this whole time. So unfortunately, I can't see your comments, but I want to know, you know, some of you guys told me about your $10 million dream last week. I want to know, if you didn't answer last week, I want to know what your $10 million dream is. Yeah, we got to talk about the stuff that you've done. But I think that the key thing we have to get across, as far as African, you know, production and fashion, is that there's $1 trillion opportunity there, right? In production, you train people and you give them, you know, the opportunity to produce products that can be sold globally. Like, that's massive money, and the interest is already there. So anybody who follows, you know, Naomi Campbell on Instagram knows that how obsessed she is with the African fashion scene right now. You were gonna say something.
Nigerians love their fashion. They love music, fashion are two things that have been consistent from get-go, from our parents' time to now. I feel even more so now because of the opportunity that exists. Art now also, art is more, it's more acceptable. It's more acceptable now. So the idea that the youth of today are pursuing their love of whatever art form they've chosen. So there's a huge market now. There's a huge market, and there is also the people who how can you say there's an audience. There's an audience for it in Nigeria as well as outside of Nigeria, within Africa. We're not even talking about outside Africa. I'm just thinking about what we can see, what we can do if we have the backing. It's the kind of money would be ridiculous. Yes. Because fashion is one thing. I know when I take my stuff, when my stuff has gone to Senegal, my stuff has gone to Ghana, how people respond to it. I'm like, if I have the means to be able to promote that stuff there, it's I can't imagine. I'm coming, doing this stuff, you're taking it to New York and bringing it back.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up, and we'll bring you back. You know, and people need, if you have questions for Wunmi, follow her on Instagram. What's your Instagrams? What are your Instagrams? Let me act like I went to school. Wow Wow by Wunmi is for the fashion. And then official, Wunmi Olaiya official is your personal page, right? She's on Instagram, she's on Facebook. I have to ask you like a few of my actual like podcast questions, okay? Things that I actually wrote down. So before I go into like your favorite film and all that stuff, who have you dressed? I was so excited. I told everybody to watch the Grammys this year because I was like, my sister is doing Nipsey Hussle tributes. You have to watch. I even called my mom.
MTN is playing up. You've gone into like a Google world right now. So
am I frozen? Do I look like this? Tell me when you can hear me again.
Okay, try.
No, I was just saying, you have to tell us about who you've dressed. I was really excited about the Nipsey Hussle Grammy tribute, but you've done so. I mean, we've been doing. You still can't hear me? Okay, part two. Part two is coming. You're frozen with your lip to the side too. So I was like, okay. Well, for anybody who doesn't know, Wunmi has dressed Esmeralda Spalding, Indiari. What's her name? Max off of Living Single. I saw her, dressed like Wunmi's clothes have changed the landscape of summer in Brooklyn. Like if you walk down a street in the warmth of Brooklyn and you don't see somebody in Wow Wow, you're not in Brooklyn, So just check her out on Instagram. We have to figure out, we got to do a fundraiser so we can, invest in Wow Wow. Let me know if you want to invest in Wow Wow. We want to get her a full-time photographer. She's doing some dope shit in Lagos right now, bringing joy to the people through costuming and,
I need to do a shoot. I need to do a concept shoot.
Okay. We want a high fashion shoot. How much do we need for that?
Pardon?
How much do we need for a high fashion shoot?
In Nigeria, every day is changing. So I just need to, instead of us talking money, let's get the photographer. Let's get the team together.
Okay. So if you're a dope ass photographer in Lagos right now that's watching this, hit us up so you can shoot some Vogue style, photos for Wunmi. I have to ask you what your favorite film is of all time, and then what Black liberation means to you, and then we go.
My favorite film of all time, I'll have to say it's Imitation of Life.
Okay. And
have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it.
It's one of sad, and I don't know why, but that film stayed with me. It's one that I saw that I never forgot because I feel it speaks a lot, and it's representative of so much stuff. It's about this young black woman who passed for white, and her mother. Her mother worked for this white family, right? And she grew up with them. And for many years, she basically did not act like her mom.
She thought she was white.
Oh no, she didn't want to be black. She didn't want to be black. And then when her mom died, she cried this cry, man. This cry that.
Last question. What does Black liberation mean to you?
Black liberation. Sorry about that. Liberation. Means owning your own self. Owning your own self.
Okay.
Owning your own self.
Drop in the comments if you're watching, what does Black liberation mean to you? I can't think of a better note on which to end. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Follow us on all the pages. What you do with this knowledge is what makes the movement. You are the movement. So share this, send it to people who need to hear it. And let's stay connected. If you're not on our mailing list, if you're not getting, updates on our events and our lives, make sure that you join our mailing list on our website, norfest.co or norlabs.org. Follow us on Instagram at norpress. What else? If you're not getting my emails and you are on the mailing list, check your spam. Make sure I'm going into your inbox, add me to your contacts. And I think that's it. Let me see if Faith texted me anything else I need to say. Am I good, Faith? Faith is my producer, I think. But thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna log off and continue the conversation in the comments. Hit us up.
Can I just thank my intern, Emeka, who made sure that I showed up and I got everything ready for you guys that I'm here. And also thank my cousin who came to hang there with me. So I don't.
And it's my brother's birthday today. Happy birthday, Wale. My auntie Isa's birthday was during the week. I love you guys.
Happy birthday, Wale.
Okay. Deuces. Bye.